on soldiers and attack on a church in Kwara State. Despite international pressure, including warnings from the U.S. president, the crisis appears to be worsening, heightening fears across the nation. Another twist is with the political turmoil in a major opposition party, PDP, where the security agencies were accused to have taken sides with the factions of the party. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his commitment to put an end to these criminal activities of insurgents and banditry, recently appointed new service chiefs with a call on them to crack down on criminal elements. Despite these efforts, the recent abduction of schoolgirls in a school in Kebbi State is giving Nigerians a lot of concern. Well, over to our topic for today, which, of course, begins this way. Since Nigerians returned to democratic governance in 1999, every administration has taken up various reforms aimed at ensuring the growth and development of the country. When President Bola Tinubu's administration came on board, he instituted a series of bold multi-sectoral reforms, all aimed at long-term structural changes, national recovery, and growth, and of course a vibrant private sector-driven economy. President Bola Tinubu has anchored his governance under an 8-reform agenda, which is christened on the Renewed Hope Agenda. These reforms comprise economy, security, health, education, agriculture, youth development, and poverty reduction, as well as human capital development. The removal of fuel subsidy, unification of the exchange rate, according to experts, has ushered improvements in macro-fiscal metrics and growth in external reserves. Social intervention programs like the expanded student loan scheme, increased support for micro, small and medium enterprises, massive road projects and housing schemes, foreign direct investment and diversification from oil reliance all point to the strides achieved so far by the government in its resolve to bring dividends of good governance to the people while building a prosperous country. Public records show that these investments have had impactful effect on the nation and our people, despite these other challenges, of course, mentioned earlier. Similarly, foreign policies and alliances have also attracted international investment to the economy. What is the level of implementation of these policies and others, and how much impact have they had on the economy and the people? Plus, the new wave of insecurity as well as political turmoil in the country. Answers to these questions and more will be provided on today's edition of Politics Nationwide as we discuss administrative reforms of President Bola Tinubu. And we are expecting guests in the studio, hopefully. We'll be joined by our public affairs analyst, Mr. Akeem Tayo, who is on his way. And we will definitely open our phone line right now for you to begin to speak with us, contribute on this edition of the program. We would like you to let us know your take on these things we've mentioned. And of course, we fortunately have a caller. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you coming from?
My name is Mazi Okorafo from Aruchuku in Abia State. Thank God for the administrative reform we are talking this morning. Now let's go to education. The school, 24 hours protection needed. I agree that Nigerian police created safe school department, and I was assisting all the local government to key in, and the state government to key in, not depending on federal government might. But what happened? We saw what happened in Zimbabwe, which is not healthy. So I'm calling on PTA, parents, guardians, school authority, and the leaders in all the communities where we have schools to provide 24/7 security for all our schools. Because we cannot sit down in this country tolerating any nonsense from terrorists. It is unacceptable, because education is one of the key, one of the dividends of democracy any government will give to the populace. And in terms of the schools, the children transport, the fund they are talking, there is need for government to do needful. What do I mean? That these funds should also reach secondary school, because there are some students in SS3. They are already there, but to pay the exam fee, either WAEC or NECO or NAPTEC, or even to write them, is a problem. Government should also remember them. And we should do all the needful, whether religion or no religion. Everybody, anyone you are doing, obey the rules and regulations of the holy book you carry, either Bible or Quran. If everybody will key into all those things, I bet you Nigeria is the best place. Even people that Jackpot, they listen to their complaint. You know that Jackpot syndrome does not even because some of them are working as slaves. It's very, very hard. Today, hear about kidnapping, the eldest child trafficking, which is not here. It's not in the Nigerian culture. We should do a good foundation in this country so that when somebody sees you outside Nigeria, they say, oh, welcome. In those days, for what is happening now, when they see in Nigeria outside, you now turn to be a suspect, which is not ready. So parents and guardians should take care of their children. Know wherever your children are, 247. It will help us. And religious leaders preach. Let us stop this show of preaching. Let us preach that what the dictates of the Holy Book is saying us, so that Nigeria will move forward. Nigeria is our country. We have no other place to go. Kidnappers, I'm just telling them, please.
Thank you.
Are we going to sit down waiting?
Thank you very much for your contribution. All right, the numbers to call are 0915 091 0482 and 0808 281 4453. Remember, we do not entertain abusive words, vulgar language, hate speeches, and the like. No name calling. And please, you have 60 seconds to make your point. Hello.
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Chief Jude Ubad. I'm calling from Arundizog in Imo State.
Chief Jude, you're welcome.
There is no doubt that the reforms of the present administration has actually been yielding so much dividends. At least as we can see in the shareable revenue, to an unprecedented level. The net fund and other cash transfer policies that are being meted out to Nigerians. Even though, notwithstanding the fact that we have had a lot of insecurity activity, but like the president said, there is no country in the world that does not actually have one form of incidents of insecurity or the other. All I enjoy, Mr. President, is all the heads of the security agencies in Nigeria, I want them to sit off or be fair. Instead of being reactive to any time any security activities occur, they should be proactive about it so that we can leave them on the board and save Nigerians from all these unwarranted insecurity activities. Because insecurity, we know, is an evil that blows nobody any good and cannot guarantee the development of any country. So that is why all hands must have to be on deck to fight it to advance it. That is my honest and candid submission this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Jude, for that contribution. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Thank you for having me. My name is Ambassador Benjamin Dari, calling from Bida, Niger State.
All right, Benjamin, you have 60 seconds. Go ahead.
About of Nigeria reform. That's good one. What I want to advise Mr. President, he should make sure he promise rural areas that they will receive their autonomy. They should make sure this one done before ending of this year or next year that we are enter very soon. And they should make sure issue of insecurity will be solved, because there are still many masses every day we not sleep with our two eyes. And lastly, like the one caller said, education reform. Most of our education, especially rural area, they don't get here to sit. Most of our children, they are learning on the ground. Most of the schools, they don't have teachers. They should make sure they improve more teachers so that our children, they will have their good education. God bless Nigeria. May Allah give our area 309 years. Thank you. God bless you.
All right. Thank you, Danjuma Dari for that.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Radio Mama, I don't know, calling from Jos Plateau State.
Oh, welcome.
The reforms are there, yes. In the near future, they will yield dividends. But any reform that cannot address the stomach infrastructure doesn't make sense. Let him focus on the fuel, fuel, diesel. Let them find a way of making fuel to cost at least a minimum of 400 naira per liter. And then diesel, 500 naira per liter. Because most of the inflation we're having today revolves around fuel. Then the energy, that is the power sector. No, there can't be meaningful development when we are experiencing epileptic power supply. And all these things used to create room for poverty. And poverty is the thing that is fueling insecurity. Insecurity is not fought only with the gun. You should also address the socioeconomic problems. Then this safe school initiative we're talking about. I've said it time without number, and I'm still saying it. No school can be safe except the communities are safe. So it's a holistic thing. And then we need help. There's nothing big. I mean, we should stop being arrogant or whatever, trying to think it's a point of weakness. Even Russians, sometimes they also use other people to fight for them or whatever. Let them employ them. We don't have the technology. If we have the technology, those girls would have been dictated where they are. How can we send our soldiers into a thick forest and all the other paramilitary, and the vigilantes and the rest of them hunters, and then into a thick forest with no direction, no bearing? They just be going about the enemies, the terrorists will be at an advantage, and then we have more casualties. It doesn't make sense. Let us seek help. Let them come and help us to get out of this mess. All the same, let's all get Nigeria.
All right. Thank you very much, Da Onogu, for that contribution. All right. At the moment, we'll have to pause the calls as our guest, much awaited guest, is now with us in the studio, and of course we are happy. We'll definitely open our phone lines as the program moves on. Not to worry, we'll still open our phone lines, so no problem. All right, and we want to very, very warmly welcome Mr. Akin Tayo. Thank you so much for making it to our studio. He's a public affairs analyst, and I think you came at the right time.
Thank you so much for having me, and apologies for a little bit behind the shadows because of traffic.
Well, that's quite unfortunate, but we are happy that finally you are here. Now, we are looking at the reforms by the present administration, administrative reforms of President Bola Tinubu, of course. All they are. But also, we want to also remind us that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his commitment to put an end to these criminal activities, bedeviling the country, of insurgents and banditry and so on, recently appointed new service chiefs with a call on them to crack down on criminal elements to end these killings and so on. Despite these efforts, the recent abduction of schoolgirls in Kebbi State, in a school in Kebbi State, is giving Nigerians a lot of concern. We also recently witnessed an attack on the church in Kwara State, and quite a number of all these issues. And we also, in the political sense, we also have witnessed turmoil with the People's Democratic Party, and accusations and counter accusations where the police and other security agents are accused to be siding with some of these factions, and perceived to be aiding the problem as well. So some of these issues are bedeviling us. What's your take on them?
Well, I'll start from the more concerning, which is the insecurity. It's quite unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. I think it's something that it's a responsibility of all Nigerians. If I may start from there, but more to the president, because he's the chief security officer of the country. Quite a lot have been done, to mitigate this, but I think the president needs to think out of the box to mitigate the current trend. And of course, at the international level, what is happening is not giving his government a good name, neither is it giving him accolades for the fact that even he has to cancel his trip to South Africa. It's something of a worry to to his government and the international community, knowing that we're having all these skirmishes of attacks, even at a worship center. We thought by now, with all the investment in the security sector, especially the procurement of arms and munitions for the past 15 years, would have need this in the board. But here we are still having a sort of ideological. I also have an opinion that all these things have political injection, but both external and internal politics. For the fact that the insurgents seem to procure more vigor into their fights to disunite and bring a kind of fear among the people. That shows that there is a kind of international collaboration. I think the president ought to have focused more from the onset on international engagement to get rid of this menace called insecurity, the ASWAPs, and in the Boko Haram, because whether you like it or not, there are elements of conspirators, both internationally and internally, that wants to bring Nigeria down. Because if you remember the statement credited to Abacha, that says that any security that lasts more than 24 hours has international or a sort of government support. I will not attribute it to the federal government. Maybe the inaction of the preceding governments, that have been in charge of this country. I think for far too long we have been fighting Boko Haram. Since 2009, it's almost like 16 years or thereabout. I think the governments and the people in charge of our security architecture should sit down in a room, crack their brain, marshal out a plan, and deal with this issue decisively. That's even the reason why we're having increase in poverty rates, because most of our people who are in the rural areas, they are running away from the villages and coming to the center to compete with the little infrastructure at the center. In Abuja, Lagos, I think these are a little bit of safe city, if I may put it that way, among the cities we have in Nigeria.
Now, what factors actually are driving the renewed wave of insecurity across Nigeria, despite heightened international pressure and government assurances?
I'm just coming to that right now.
Okay.
Look, there is need for the government to be holistic. See, insecurity is caused by so many influence or factors. One could be ideological. Two, it could be economical. Three, it could be just criminal factor. And the aspect of economical is what I think the government needs to focus on. It needs to bring out a strategy to bring people out of poverty. Whether anybody in government or out of government likes it or not, poverty is one of the primary drive for insecurity or criminality. When people who are supposed to be farming, either farming and taking their goods to the market, and the rest of them are somehow not able to do so, what do you expect? These criminals is either they constrict them into their criminal activities or banditry activities. For example, let me give you an instance. My own grandfather is a very big farmer, a cocoa farmer, and most of his the people, people that he hires to
workers,
workers, laborers, if I may put it that way, to farm for him, are mostly from the north. Some of them are not from Nigeria, from Nigeria and the rest of them. When it's farming season, they come, they do their work and go. By the time either the farming activities is no more there, and due to insecurity, those laborers have no choice than to join the bandwagon of criminals or bandits, kidnapping people for ransom and the rest of them. So those aspects is where the government need to come in and see how they can, bring security and also bring an incentives. People have I for example, I thought by now those people who were in the IDP camps years back would have been given some stipends to start their life all over again through economic empowerment. Give them loans to start a little business and all that, so that they will not go back to their criminality. These are some of the economic factors. When you talk about international influence, yes, we know that people who have been, predicting the breakdown or the collapse of Nigeria since time immemorial. I remember one, for example, in 2005, there were some economic expert or international expert that said Nigeria will never last up to 10 years. Somehow we're able to, prove them wrong. But we should not prove them right by folding our hands. Because these people, they know what we have. They know the resources, both human and mineral resources that we have here. And we must not allow them. And by not allowing them is to have unity of purpose. And, for the government and the people in charge of managing this country to think and have a sense of ownership to tackle these issues and not be bothered by influence. Those people who are being sponsored should be caught and be prosecuted. Jailed. If it's capital punishment, let it be. Than for us to be romancing with insecurity. And in fact, I saw yesterday where I don't know how, I think that news is accurate, where an ASWAP leader that maimed people, that killed people, or instigated or even led the attack of innocent people is being given 20 years imprisonment. For God's sake, where is that done? So these are some of the things we need to correct. From the judiciary, the economics, the manager, the security manager, we need to think this is our country. We must not allow it to fail.
All right. Thank you very much. That's a passionate one there. We will talk more about insecurity issues and other issues bedeviling the country, of course, subsequently in our other editions of the program. Definitely we will look more at these. But now we'll have to move back to our topic proper for today, which is administrative reforms of President Bola Tinubu. And we'll begin this way. Generally, how will you describe the reforms of President Bola Tinubu's led administration?
Well, I think most of the reforms that the president have embarked upon are mostly geared towards economic reforms, economic revival, which as an economist that I am, I have an opinion that those reforms are necessary at this point, because some people who may not understand, Nigeria was a dead situation before the president came on board, where we are almost like a bankrupt country. If people who don't understand economics, who don't know what it takes to manage an organization or an entity, may not understand, because it's what you earn that it is what you earn that you spend to run your organization or run your entity. Even this radio house, somehow you have to generate to keep the place running. You have to buy fuel, you have to pay for this, you pay for that. Because if you don't have anything coming in and you keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, even the creditors will get tired of you. I said, look, you're not creditworthy because you're not bringing anything to the table. That was the situation we were, because even the mainstay of Nigerian economy, which is oil, at a point we were doing as less as 700 million barrel per day, and so 700,000 rather per day, as to because of the theft, and sometimes will I say the unseriousness of the government then or over the years to explore, the growth or increase in the production. But as it is right now, we've been seeing some, milestone, Like as we speak, when the government came on board, we're doing about 1.1 million barrels per barrel. Now it's almost 2 million barrels. With their sagacity to, nip into the board the issue of the oil theft, I think that is almost like 0% right now. Because I have a lot of my industry players in the Niger Delta that have told me, look, it's even very difficult now to sell an illegal oil or crude in the international market. People don't buy it. So those mechanisms that the government have made, the reforms that they have made to make the sale of illegal oil unattractive, that's a big plus. Unlike before, where more than half of what is extracted is being stolen and sold, and you see people in government getting fatter or even richer than the country itself. So that's a plus, and we have been seeing a lot of inflow of investors, even in the oil and gas industry, that was never attractive at a point. For almost like 15 years, 20 years, the industry has been docile.
Now let's take this one after the other.
Yeah.
You've talked generally on the economy. Now let's take them one by one. In the education sector, students' loan scheme has been put in place, and more funds have been released to tertiary institutions, among others. What has been the impact so far? Are the target population actually feeling the impact on this fund?
You see, I'm one of the strong believer that believes that this initiative of NELFON by the Mr. President is one of the milestone of his achievement. I mean, the top, the number one of all his achievements. Because if you have been able to, get more people into the, get more people educated, increase the educated population, you have solved more than half of Nigerians' problem. And I just felt that maybe the government is not celebrating it enough. It's a milestone. There are a lot of people who do not have the privilege of getting educated at the tertiary level, especially in the north. Today, they are celebrating this initiative. A lot of children of Akasela, Mesuya, and the rest of them, they are celebrating this initiative. That's to show that the president means well, and also to meet the target of at least more than half of the population into the educated bracket. It's a big reform. And even to say this, in about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was with the chairman of NELFON. I think it's the MD, right? Yeah, that's the position, the MD. And I told him, look, you are not celebrating this enough. You are not getting it out there. Because if you go to the traditional rulers, they are commending these initiatives. Go to the universities, students are commending this initiative. So it should be something that the president or the people, the handlers of the president, should celebrate so much. So I think it's a good one. And then and I will also advise the state government and the local government to take this bold initiative, because we have a suburb that have I don't think they have been doing that much well. If the state government can adopt something like self-fund, where do the children of the underprivileged can also have access to fund, not only funding for school fees, but other sundry issues around their schooling. It will help a lot to reduce out of school children, and which is the target. So how we use this platform to reach out to our state governors, this key initiative. You will have more money now in your hands, and you should use it for the welfare of your people, especially to reduce illiteracy. So I will advise even the local government, let's cascade it to the local government. You see the change that we have been aspiring for. in Nigeria if this initiative is cascaded to the these communities.
Now, another ministry, the Ministry of Livestock Development, has been created among other reforms. How do you think this will change the narrative in the sector? What are the opportunities in the new ministry beneficial to livestock farmers?
That ministry or the initiative would have been, let's say, very big achievement. But the question is it only about announcing the Ministry of Livestock? What about the function or the impact? Because I'm sorry to say, I heard they're having some financial issues, which is budget this, budget that, but that ministry is very key to the peace that we yearn for, between the farmers and the herders, or changing the narrative of the livestock business. But I think the minister and his people should sit up. It's not about having just a portfolio as a minister. You need to make the people feel the impact. And so far, I'm sorry, the impact has been a bit here and there. I'm just being honest, So if the minister and his people are listening, Nigerians need to see what you're doing. If you don't have fun, look for international partners and get fun. Get these ranches. It should have been a turning point for all these clashes, all these increasing or constant clashing or killing we used to have in Benue or hear about in Nasarawa. How this ministry have the potential to stop all this if they know what they're doing.
Okay.
But right now, I can tell you, most of us are not aware of what they have achieved. That's being honest. So they need to either do more and show Nigerians more that they are doing something.
All right. Thank you very much. Now we'll take a break. I'll be back. Don't go away.
Politics Nationwide will be back shortly.
Advanced democracies had their teething problems. In fact, they are standing tall and strong today, having passed through political crucibles at different periods.
Nigeria is not different. She has her journey to make. Experiences have shown that no nation abandons her journey, no matter how thorny.
24 years of uninterrupted democracy is good and steady enough. Let's all join hands to consolidate our democracy.
Our hope is reassured.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria.
It's the only radio network in Nigeria. The network that attracts over 40 million high net worth individuals. Unarguably, the only radio channel that draws key decision makers through incisive and up-to-date news, scintillating sportscasting, and exciting programming. Radio Nigeria Network Service, the haven for discerning investors who wish to reach their target audience at the lowest cost per thousand. Your brand and corporate image deserve nothing less than a sustained exposure on Radio Nigeria Network Service. Try us today.
Politics Nationwide will be back shortly.
Welcome back. It's still Politics Nationwide on the network service of Radio Nigeria. We're looking at the administrative reforms of President Bola Tinubu, and our guest has been a public affairs analyst, and he's no other than Mr. Akeem Tayo. I hope I got that right this time.
Very well.
And of course, our phone line will soon be open for you to call in and contribute on the program. But at the moment, we'll have to take this question. On the economy, various reforms ranging from tax reforms, import duty waiver, business registration to attract local and foreign investors, and many more. These reforms have been greeted with mixed reactions. What do you make of these reforms? are they making the desired impact? And especially the fact that we still are expecting new tax reforms next year.
Whether anybody likes it or not, I'm a strong believer in the capacity of Mr. President, especially when it comes to economic reform or even development, growth, whatever it is. So one of the reasons someone like me is sort of have a soft spot for Mr. President. One of the areas I have soft spot for him is his ability to engineer change in the economies, just like he did in Lagos. And it's not surprising that he is embarking on some of the reform, although at the initials it looks so very painful to our pockets, to our purchasing power and ability to feed and the rest of them. But you can see the tide is already changing. Now we are seeing growth in our foreign reserve, because I started in my intro. When the president came on board, we were almost a bankrupt country. That we were not paying even our investors their return of investment. It was too difficult for them to repatriate their fund. That was a big issue when it comes to economic growth, because you even need this inflow of foreign investment for you to measure whether you are doing well or not. But as at the time the president came on board, the Nigerian economy was in a very, very bad shape. If anybody likes it to hear it, it was a very, very bad shape. But with the bold reform, the removal of subsidy, it was inevitable. Subsidy on PMS, subsidy on the exchange rate, because it's almost like a subsidy. In the floating of the exchange rate was very painful, but it was necessary, because actually we were subsidizing the dollar for many years, and our account became empty. Even our foreign reserve was used as a collateral to be collecting money to keep the naira at that rate of 700 or thereabout before he came on board. And even upon the fact that we are using our phone or our dollar, our foreign reserve, it was still going up. So it was a very good bold step that the president used to change that narrative. As you can see now, there's foreign reserve. When the president came on board, it was about 30 billion US dollars. Now we have about almost 46 as of yesterday. That's a growth, and that's a plus. And we're now seeing the gradual reduction in prices of goods items. The inflation is almost on a monthly basis reducing from about almost 35 now to about 16. That's a plus. Because we know he is able to do this. If you don't see, the Nigerians should know that if you have a disease, you must go through surgery to get well, and that surgery most likely is going to be painful. And we have gone through past, and thank God, going to 3 years now, we are seeing some results, even though it's not as 100% as we expected.
I was going to say that we can't deny the fact that poverty and unemployment has actually remained a challenge despite the records of GDP growth and stuff. It is expected that reforms translate to improved living standards for the people. So what do you think the government is actually doing to change this reality as quickly as possible? Because we have to be alive to see the promised land. Exactly,
and that's where I'm even going to. Because on one hand, where the government is doing well, I'm going to say, well, where the government needs to improve, we need to also tell them to improve, especially on the issue of the microeconomics, which is more or less the small-scale economies or industries. I'm of the opinion that we're not doing quite well, and there's the need for the president economic managers to be very, very, very focused, or very, very dedicated to that segment of the economy. Because look here, a lot of contractors are complaining. I know some of my friends who are contractors, that have to die in the yeah, about two or three of them have to die because of loan they collected. And these are people that employ Nigerians in their thousands to work in their in project site and the rest of them. I'm talking of small scale loan or micro loan. It's neither here nor there. We are not seeing anything. I think especially Smidan, whoever is listening, the managers of Smidan should sit up. You don't need to wait for budgetary allocation. You need to look, revive that industry, because the tomato seller, most of them have run out of business because of their inability to get loans, and they cannot depend on our commercial banks that we want to strangulate them with about almost 35% of interest rates.
You did make mention of states and local governments also putting in an effort. A lot of monies are actually being channeled to the sub-national levels. Do you think this is going to plan, as the situation appears to be in the country right now? Do you think that the plan is actually working, that the monies will be devolved from the center to the sub-national level, so that I believe the plan is for development
and devolution of powers,
to trickle down to the grassroots. So is it going to plan?
And you see, constitutionally the president is bound to share whatever revenues.
Yes, I understand.
But it's not the host on the respective governors to have the interests of their citizens at heart. And unfortunately, some of the bunch of governors we have right now, if I may say, majority or quite a number of them, I don't think they know what they're doing with the huge resources that is in their hands. And you see, a lot of blames goes to the federal, because most Nigerians have been, will I use the word, for lack of words, cajoled to believe that the government at the center is going to solve all their problems. No, we need to hold our governors accountable, and it's about individuality. Some governors are doing well. If you take a look at the states.
Okay, well, before we conclude on that, let's see if we can take more calls. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Chief Fidel Onyeneka. I'm calling from Owerri in Imo State. I appreciate the reforms by President Tinubu. Yes, Nigerians also appreciate it, but people have not seen what they expected out of these reforms. Nigerians can only say that they have seen the reforms. When we go to the market, prices of goods received are reduced and become affordable. When there is security, people can now go to farm and farm without harassment, without intimidation, and so on. When you go to filling stations, you can buy fuel at a reasonable price. When our refineries are reactivated, when they start working, when all these basic problems are solved, particularly when you have full local government autonomy, so that rural areas can benefit from the dividends of democracy. Anything short of this, Nigerians will continue to say that the reforms have not yielded the expected results. I pray that President Tinubu...
Hello? Oh dear, we lost that call. All right, Chief Fidel, I believe you made your point. Thank you very much. Hello?
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. What's your name and where you come from?
Thank you. You're absolutely on to Mohammed Ibrahim from Niger State.
Mohammed, you're welcome.
I'm calling from Niger State, and my name remains Mohammed Ibrahim Bogi.
Yes, you have 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Morning, you people are discussing this fabulous and crucial issue that is bothering all Nigerians this morning on here, which is the issue of insecurity, education, health, and etc. I want to use this medium again, please, to the Chief of Army Staff, because it came up on newspaper headline this morning, telling Nigeria that they are trying their own best possible to find the last solution for the issue of insecurity. And thank God again that our President Ahmed Bola Tinubu have given green light to Nigeria security agents that they should make sure of safe return of some students that are in captivities of hoodlums, which were kidnapped in Kebbi State. They should please go ahead and do that, because that is what Nigeria, our eyes are on the way now. We want to see the successful return of these students to their various parents, because they have been disengaged from being enjoying themselves, because they don't know the kind of condition that their children are in right now. The Nigeria security, the kudos to Nigeria security agents again, because the General Wahid Shuaibu pronounced it on the newspaper headline that they are doing their best possible.
Thank you.
They should please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You've made your point. Thank you so much, Mohammed.
Hello, good morning. It's Radio Mama. I don't know, calling from Jos Plateau State.
There you are.
Your guest, I want to ask your guest a question. Please, why is it that we are borrowing so much, despite the fuel subsidy removal, you know? And then why is it that the registered doctors have been on strike for over 2 weeks and nothing is done to make sure they go back to work? The other health workers, health workers have also started, you know, the strike. Then the ASU is also warming up. So when you say there are reforms and they cannot use them to sort these things out so we can have stability in the nation, which will eventually bring about peace, it doesn't make sense, you know. I don't know. Please, you push that.
Thank you for your question. Of course, hopefully he'll be able to give us an answer to that quickly. All right, and that's it. Do we have another call? All right, that's it. Okay, on our third segment. All right, you want to react to?
Yeah, I want to react to the last call from the lady. You know, I asked the same questions to some of the handlers of the president when it comes to borrowing. Yeah, we have a lot of money coming in now, foreign investment. We have a lot of crude now, at least to about 2 million barrels and the rest of them. So then why is the borrowing? And the answer I got from some of them is that, look, yeah, as a planner or a manager of an entity, you need to have your projection of budget spending, what you expected to generate and what you are expected to borrow, because of course the constitution allows you to borrow if the need be. You know, every other country borrows. So I think the answer I got is that, look, yes, the budget here have provision for, I think, some percentage to be borrowed from external borrowers or internal borrowers. But as of today, I think the government seems to have done away or paid the debt of local creditors. Now they are facing the international creditors, of course, so that even they will continue to be credit worthy. And there is no harm in borrowing, but if the borrowing does not meet the welfare or the interests of the people, that's where the question is. So as of now, I think the answer will be given more by the handlers of the economy, the Minister of Finance or the CBN governor, or those who manage the economy. But what I was told is that, look, there is provision for borrowing, and that's the reason why they are making those borrowing, not because we are cash strapped or we don't have the money. So that's aside. So on the issue of policy, which is the refineries and I think somebody mentioned about refineries and the prices of items. Yeah, to be fair to the government, there have been some tangible positive reflection on the prices of items. Right now, before I think rice was about 150 to 120,000 naira. It's almost 60,000. I bought rice last week. I bought at a rate of 60,000 naira. That's a plus, you know. But that doesn't mean that we are in El Dorado. The people managing the economics or the president's policy needs to do more, especially when it comes to local production. I have seen a lot of farmers are crying that they are not being given attention. The loan facility that they used to have from anchor borrowers, yes, we know it was infested with some sort of corruption here and there, but they need to reform, and there is need to have a meeting point between the real farmers, not political farmers, and the policy implementers, which like the Bank of Agriculture, the Minister of we are not seeing such interaction, meeting points, where at least they are giving support to these local farmers. We need to do that.
Get the funds to the real farmers.
Not political farmers or agents, because a lot of people form a club, or like a bridge in between the government and the real farmers, and that has to be looked at by the policymakers, especially in the agricultural sector. The refineries, yes, I've been an advocate of total divestment. What I mean by divestment, at least to selling off of that refinery. It's been moribund for almost more than 30 years, and we keep spending money. Look at the recent news of a former minister being arrested for misuse of funds meant for the refineries. For God's sake, we can't continue to bleed ourselves in this kind of conundrum of corruption. We need to change the narrative. I believe, my own economic instinct or believes that government does not have business in running business. We should focus on collecting taxes and regulations.
Regulations.
Yes, because any entity, check it from time immemorial. Is it the Nigerian Airways? Is it Nigerian refineries? Is it the National Stadium, both in Lagos and Abuja? Most of them have been moribund, and most of them have been mismanaged. Why not subcontract this management, or bring an investor on a PPP? Look at NNLG in Bonny. The place is running very well because we have majorities investor. Sure. They are more of a private sector. The government have about 40-something% of shares, and most of the decisions, the board management decisions, are made by majority shareholders, and that's how the company have been running consistently in a good shape. But when you have government people, I'm sorry to say, we Nigerians, especially people in government, do not run government enterprise very well, and we don't need a soothsayer. We don't need a Donald Trump to come and tell us that we are disgraced, because we have been disgracing ourselves.
Now, the issue of pricing now, a lot of people complain that they believe that even after prices of wholesale prices and production prices drop, retailers continue to cash in on, take undue advantage of the situation hitherto that was there, to charge them extra just to make hyper profit. What do you think of this? How could we solve these issues?
I made a postulation or a policy suggestion to some people around the president on how we can further crash the price of commodities, but unfortunately some of them maybe have not really taken it to the next stage or give it a try. Look, I suggested that, look, there are some markets or some demography of market handlers or managers that you can collaborate with. Give them a lot of incentives for them to drop their prices. Like, for example, you have Alaba market, or you have some big markets in Kano and Lagos or Aba. You can work with the managers of this some of these big markets, who some of them even import some of this product or even have produced locally. Give them incentives, drop some little taxes so they can drop their prices. By the time they drop their prices and Nigerians can afford it, then you give them maybe a period of time. You empower some local producers. You will see the price of market, the price of commodity will crash. So as long as there are some other ways that the government can explore to further crash, because it's all about affordability. It's all about Nigerians being able to feed themselves. So I think our economic managers should think outside the box. It's not about taxing or not taxing. Yes, the new tax regime gives an exemption to some tax payers. I think they are trying to waive some taxes for some people who cannot maybe who who earns less than 50 million naira per year. So these are some of good initiatives, but they need to do more. We need to collaborate with some of these market managers.
One sentence now. Generally, what's your take home? What do we take home from this today?
Now, I think the take home is that from the phone calls we've gotten, Nigerians they are seeing some of the effects, but they are not really. It's not really having impact on them, and they need to do more.
Yes, need to do more. Now, this is where we end today's edition of Politics Nationwide. We appreciate our guest, our public affairs analyst, Mr. Akeem Akintayo. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Our producer is Mariam Benjamin. News producer is Adaku Ene. They were supervised by Maureen Eke. The studio manager, Usman Muhammad. In engineering, we have Hassan Usman. Hosena Akila and Umsushimaki are our executive producers. I am Jeremiah Jimmy, your anchor. Politics Nationwide will stage a comeback, same time next week, Tuesday and Thursday, right here on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Bye for now.
You are welcome back from our network studios. This is Premier FM 93.5. Do stay with us as we continue with the broadcast of programs. From the stable of Radio Nigeria, this is Premier FM 93.5. The time is 9 o'clock.